This is a story about the Queen of the World. In the early 90s, I was invited to an international health conference in Salzburg, Austria. It was convened by the Kellogg Foundation and held in the mansion once owned by the Trapp family and immortalized by The Sound of Music. There were delegates from at least 20 countries. At the first dinner, we were all seated at tables, and a woman came up and took the seat beside me. She introduced herself as a delegate from South Africa, and I told her I was from the United States. She immediately said, "I want to thank you as an American for what your country has done for me." And then she told her story. I was born in a small rural village in South Africa. And as a young girl, my idol was Mrs. Kennedy. I called her the Queen of the World. One day, my village bought its first television set where everyone could go and watch it. Shortly thereafter, President Kennedy was shot, and the TV screen was filled with film clips of him and his family. One of these clips showed the family playing together on a beach. Mrs. Kennedy was wearing a swimsuit, which revealed that she had bowed legs. I couldn't believe that the Queen of the World had this problem. Startlingly, my new friend then stood up and raised her skirt so I could see that her legs were significantly bowed. She said that she had always felt ugly because of her own bowed legs and tried to hide them with long skirts. However, when she saw that the Queen of the World had bowed legs, she thought for the first time that maybe she could be a queen also. She went on to say that Mrs. Kennedy had given her the incentive to work hard and become somebody. Later in the conference, another South African told me that Nelson Mandela, who had just become president of the country, had appointed my dinner mate to become the first African minister of health. The moral of this story is that while we often think that it is people's assets that are the key to community building, it's also true that what might be labeled as deficits, like bowed legs, can also be seen as assets. If Mrs. Kennedy had not had bowed legs, might it be the case that the woman in the story would probably not have become the Minister of Health?